It is un-American. I'll tell you what's un-American. What's un-American is to take these tax breaks at a time when ConocoPhillips and the other oil companies are making record profits, at a time when oil is over $4 a barrel, a gallon at the pump, and over $100 a barrel, when they argued that they needed these subsidies when the price of oil was $17 and they needed to encourage exploration.
You know what we need? We need a member of the Gang of Six.
Yeah.
Tell us what's in their idea, their proposal, all the details. I'm sure you'll tell us everything. Joining us now from Capitol Hill, Republican Senator from Oklahoma and member of the Senate Finance Committee, Senator Tom Coburn. Good to have you on the show this morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning. How would you characterize the kind of progress the Gang of Six has made? Because some are getting a little impatient.
Well, the important thing is it's okay for everybody to get impatient. It's not okay if we don't get this right and come to a conclusion that'll actually fix some of the problems that are in front of us. So that's a political game, Mika. You got to have something done by a certain time. We got to have something done before we crash and before we have a bond rate on our bonds. So I don't think about a time limit on what we're doing. I think about getting it accomplished and doing it in a good way and making sure we have a bipartisan agreement.
Okay, so what does getting it right mean? What ultimately, are things that are off the table that we're hearing from Democrats and Republicans, are they on the table in this compromise?
Everything is on the table in our discussions.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, getting it right is creating confidence in the international financial community, one, and confidence in the capital industry in our country, people who want to invest capital or expand businesses, that they have the confidence that we are solving the very real and urgent problems in front of us in terms of our budget deficits and our growth. And so we should not be cavalier to say that a time is more important than getting that right. Okay. Because if we do a good job, we're going to buy ourselves 5 or 7 years with which to work out of the problem even more.
So issues like changing the tax code, a possibility? Sure.
One of the things I can remember as a young business professional in '86. I guess I wasn't really that young, but I can remember a significant increase in taxes that I actually received that year because of the Reagan tax cuts in rates, but the loss of the deductions. But in the years that followed that, my actual income taxes went down because of the tremendous growth. So what we have to do is we need to have a flatter, fairer, incentivized tax system that will cause people to spend money in the economy, that will create real wealth and real jobs and real investment.
Senator, it's Norah O'Donnell here. 2 questions for you. First, why is it only the Gang of Six? The Senate is made up of 100 senators. Why can't you get more senators to be part of this group, or have you privately spoken with others who are willing to join you in this bipartisan effort to make some real hard choices?
We started out, there was about 41, and we decided, look, with 6 people, it's pretty hard to get there. And if in fact we can get somewhere, then what we'll do is try to bring something to the rest of the senators and let them try to modify it on the floor based on what they would like to see. But it just tells you how hard it is and how polarized we are in this country, the difficulty in trying to come to a fair agreement where everybody has to give up something, everybody loses something, but we actually fix the country.
One of the things, Senator, that I believe you support is an end to ethanol subsidies, about $6 billion in annual tax expenditures that benefit agribusiness. Because of that, Grover Norquist has said that you are violating the tax pledge. What's your response to Grover Norquist?
Well, I understand where Grover's coming from, but the fact is when we create a tax credit, that it doesn't need to be there to accomplish the policy, which we've mandated a certain amount of ethanol has to be produced and blended. For us to say that if we're going to quit paying that money to the very companies that Senator Schumer was talking about before I came on, and they don't want it either, by the way, they've sent us a letter and said that's a tax increase. It just shows how far our polarization is in this country. We cannot allow super special interests or one principle to undermine what we're doing when what we're really talking about is putting our whole country at risk in the future.
Peggy on standby. Mike Barnacle, go ahead.
Senator, you and the president had a very good relationship when he was in the Senate, and you just spoke about the need for dialogue in this country, excuse me, and the need to acknowledge the fact that everyone has to give something in order to get something. Have you had, since he became president of the United States, a one-on-one dialogue down in the Oval Office with the president of the United States about this necessity?
Yes.
And?
Peggy Noonan.
And?
Well, you know, I don't discuss my conversations with the president publicly. Most of them are based on personal relations rather than policy. But we've had a couple of discussions.
Peggy?
Senator Coburn, Peggy Noonan here. You're talking about changing the tax code. We need a flatter, fairer, incentivized tax system. You're talking about looking at deductions, loopholes, and write-offs. This is big. This would be a big refiguring of the American tax structure that you guys, you gang of six, are actually considering every day.
Oh, it's real big in terms of what it could mean to us economically. You know,
Could
right
you pull
now,
it off? Could you come to agreement, you six, on something this big?
Well, I think so. The details, you know, it would have to go through the committee and be worked out. But the guidelines, I think we could. Remember, because of the tax code today, we have people directing capital in ways that are highly inefficient to benefit from the tax code, rather than to create wealth and opportunity and jobs in our country. So we ought to change that, and I think we could probably get an agreement to do that.
Senator Tom Coburn, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Real quick.
Good morning.
Senator, and you support, yes or no, do you support that some wealthier Americans would have to pay more in taxes?
I support that we're going to have to see some increase in revenues to the federal government for us to get out of this. That's a totally different thing than a tax increase or a tax rate increase.
But there's a Republican that's willing to say something very bold and courageous.
I'm very glad we didn't listen to Chris. Tom Coburn, thank you very much. Good luck to you. Up next, we're going to take an exclusive look at this week's issue of Time magazine with managing editor Rick Stengel. We'll be right back.
We've been working so hard. We've been working so hard. Come on, baby, let's dance.
Buy a sport coat at Joseph A. Bank. Get a second sport coat or blazer, plus any 2 dress or casual pants absolutely free at Joseph A. Bank.
Everyone has a dream, but sometimes your future can be a bit hard to see. That's why the principal created the Dream Catcher, a new online tool to help imagine the life you want someday in pictures. You can organize, prioritize, and plan. Then, with more than 130 years' experience, we can manage your investments to help make your dream reality. Visit dreamagain.com or ask your advisor. It's time